Okay, so this is the end of year 1 of homeschooling. We do not regret a single minute of it. Has it been overwhelming? Yes. Has it been frustrating at times? Yes. Homeschooling is not always rainbows and cupcakes. I know that there are a lot of YouTube channels, there's a lot of Instagrammers and people all over social media, and they do all these beautiful, wonderful things, and we all want to do the same things, but the reality is that it doesn't work for everybody. I have 3 kids. I have 2 first graders and 2 second graders. And there was a lot of trial and error this year for us. We did do the box curriculum. We had a full set of Abeka. And now I'm gonna go over what worked and what didn't work for us. So this was an adjustment, it was an adventure, but we loved every minute of it. First books that I'm gonna go through are my first graders' books. So I'm only gonna go through one stack because obviously what one has, the other has. So starting off, I have a Bible verse scripture workbook. This is for handwriting and it's from the Daily Grace Co. It's just practicing Bible verses and writing, but as you can see, we have not used it yet. There's also this one, Our Great God, also from the Daily Grace Co. And this is more of activities and coloring, and they've used some of it, but we haven't finished it either. The curriculum that we used was a box curriculum. We did Abeka, and we basically got everything of Abeka and hope for the best. So this is their history and science, health, activity book, and this is level 2. So I chose a level that would be able to be used for all 3 of my kids. I looked through it at the homeschool convention last year, and I figured that it would be okay to use for all 3 of my kids. I thought that it was a good enough level, but we also have not used it this year. These are the letters and sounds 1 test. So we have used some tests, but you'll come to find that we stopped doing these tests also. And I will explain why in a little bit. Here's the spelling and poetry book for also Abeka, and this is for Caleb. And we did a couple of pages, and we also stopped this one. It did not work out for us. And I'll also explain for this one. Here's the arithmetic 1 test, so all their math tests. And I believe we used this one a little bit more, but then we came to a stop at this too. This one is one that I was super excited about. It's Answers in Genesis. Their Bible curriculum for level K through 1. So this is meant to be used for kindergarten or first grade, and it's year 1. So these books have year 1, 2, 3, and 4, I believe. So it's a 4-year curriculum. So year 1 starts at creation until Joseph. But as I went on to lesson 1, I realized that it was a little bit more difficult. Not necessarily the activities for them, but the teacher guide and all the things that I need to go through. It was very complicated for me to understand. Maybe it was that I was overwhelmed because of all the other things that I had going on too and trying to figure everything out. But I was not able to get through this. This is the spelling curriculum we switched to from Abeka. This is a reason for spelling, and I absolutely love it. The kids love it. They're learning a lot more with this book. This book is working way more for them than Abeka. So it starts with phonics, but then we get to lesson 1, and lesson 1 starts with like a pre-test. So I will read them the words and they will have to try and spell it out. So this will tell me exactly where they're at before learning their spelling words. So this is working for them. This is their math book. I actually really love Abeka's math curriculum. It's kind of advanced, but my kids also are very good at math. So they have really loved this because they've started with money and clocks and temperature and a lot of addition and subtraction. Okay, so there's a lot of different things that they've really enjoyed about Becca's math curriculum. So they're doing clocks, and we'll actually have a clock we have a toy clock that it was gifted to them years ago, but we never used it, and now we have found a reason to use it with Becca's curriculum. I'm sure that any curriculum of first grade already has clocks because they started doing clocks in kindergarten, but we never really got into depth as in this year. So they've been using the clock, and we've been using money. So they've been learning to count money with their register and with their play money. So I'm all for learning through play. In the back of the book, they also have these sheets so that they can practice their math facts. Oop, here they are. So they're addition facts and subtraction facts. It's kind of see how fast you can finish, and you get to time them and count how many they did right. But this is one of the reasons why we stopped doing the test, because of the timing. They would get frustrated and they would start to cry because they wanted to finish faster than the other. And if time ran out and they weren't done, they would be mad at themselves, thinking that they weren't smart enough. So I chose to stop testing them. This is their letters and sounds book. In a perfect world, a Becca curriculum is meant for every book to be on the same lesson. So if I'm in lesson 5 in math, I would be in lesson 5 in letters and sound, and lesson 5 in language, and lesson 5 in handwriting. But because we homeschool and homeschooling is not perfect, we are on different lessons in each book. The only books that are actually matching are the letters and sounds and language arts. So their language arts books are on the same lesson. But each lesson for language arts is one front page is one lesson and the back page is another lesson. Unlike math, the front and back is one full lesson. And this is their language book. So their language book is more of grammar and writing and reading comprehension. So they'll be working on sentences, on finishing sentences, practicing some handwriting, correcting sentences. And then we have their handwriting book. This is Becca's handwriting book. I have mixed feelings about this book. My boys don't like it, and if they don't like it, I kind of don't love it either, because that means it is more trouble for me having them to get to do it. I don't like to have to battle them, because for me that defeats the whole purpose of homeschooling. Homeschooling should be relaxed and it should be enjoyable, and I don't want it to feel like school for them. I want them to enjoy learning and enjoy doing what they do. So if a curriculum is not doing that for me, then it's not going to work for my family, it's not going to work for my kids, it's not going to work in my house. So the reason why is it's a lot of repetition, and I know that this is a Becca is a spiral curriculum. They kind of get bored of that. They like to just continue learning, and I'll just spiral back every once in a while when I feel like they need it. But so far they haven't really needed it. They're grasping every concept fairly quickly, and they're understanding it. There have been a few concepts that they haven't really grasped, and we have stopped. Like the spelling was an issue, but when we found the right curriculum, it kind of clicked and things started going better. Like here's just tracing and writing, and they were overdoing the same thing and writing letters. They would say, well, I already know letters. And then they'll do sentences, and then they would say it's too many sentences, I don't want to write anymore. And I get it, because it's a lot. I mean, it's the handwriting, it's the language books, the letter and sound book, arithmetic, the tests, the spelling and poetry book. I mean, a Becca is a lot. And if you get the lesson plan, you will see that they have a whole schedule of what a typical homeschool day should look like, or what they feel is the right way of doing it in order to get all their subjects in. So it would start from 8 a.m. and I believe in the lesson plan, it shows that the day ends at 2 p.m., which is not something that we can do because I am not a stay-at-home mom. I used to be, but I have to work. So I work part-time, and so we homeschool in the mornings. As soon as we wake up, we start an early day. They have their breakfast, they do their things, and then we sit down and we start homeschool. And we have a few short hours that we can sit down and do this. So for us, it was too many books, and I found myself rushing through the day, and that's why they weren't understanding, they weren't getting it. So I had to remove a lot of things. We'll go as far as we can on this, and if we finish, we finish, and if we don't, we don't. That's the reality of homeschooling. Sometimes you finish, sometimes you don't finish, and that's okay. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 workbooks that are just for my first graders. And this was very overwhelming when I started looking at all these piles plus the teacher handbooks. But out of all of these books, I have only used 5 books. 5 books that they do daily, which is the spelling book, their math book, their 2 language arts books, and handwriting. So it's less than half of the stack is what they're doing. And I think that's fine for them. And I still think this is too much. I wish that these 2 books were bound together and they just had language arts and phonics, letters and sounds all together. Because for me, them having 2 books makes them as kids feel like they have more than what their sister has. So their sister's language arts book is only 1 book. She doesn't have the letters and sounds separate than the language. It's all together. So now I'm gonna go over her books and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. This is my second grader's stack. As you can see, it's also a very large stack. There are way too many books here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So she has 10 books. So 1 less than the boys because of the language arts book. They have 2 language arts books where she has 1. So her books are fairly similar. So she has the same scripture workbook, and we haven't done that yet. We're probably gonna do this in the summer as their handwriting because she already finished her handwriting book. And she also had a separate handwriting book because Abeka, once you start 2nd grade, they have cursive, and I didn't think she was ready for cursive. I wanted her to practice another year of manuscript, but next year I hope to start transitioning her to cursive. This book, each one of my kids had, and we used it really during read aloud. So I would read to them and they'll be coloring. And this was my way of just having them sit there and do stuff. So they would just pick random pages. I didn't have them just go and do 1 page at a time. They'll just pick the page that they want to color while I would read, and it kept them entertained and they were focused because I would ask them questions and they understood what I was reading. So I know that the comprehension was there. And they weren't just distracted with the coloring, they were actually listening. And since I found that they were, I allowed this because it was a way of them just like transitioning to start the homeschool day with. So this was their transition way. We haven't finished the book. We haven't really gotten it out, but I think I'm gonna start taking it out in the summer too for when I start reading again. I mean, we read every day, but for when we start reading after we're done with all of these books, because right now we do the read alouds during handwriting time. So they'll do handwriting and I will be reading. And this is her phonics and language test book. She did a few of them and then we stopped. I really hated testing them. I just tested them in my own way I would ask them questions, or I would sit next to them, and on days that I didn't have to work, because I work on the school's schedule. So when school is out, I'm off from work also, and I get to sit one-on-one with each of them. Those are the days that I take advantage and ask them questions, and I'll have them read to me those days. And so I'll figure out what it is that they need more help in and work on those areas on those days. This is her spelling and poetry book. I really disliked this book. What I didn't like is that it was kind of, this was it. You know, you get one page with your spelling words and you have an activity, but you don't even use all of the spelling words. And then you have another activity where you don't have to use all of the spelling words again. And then you flip the page and you have your new list. So it's not like there's a lot of practice. So I would have to create my own ways of practicing with them. And I found that it was not working because it was difficult. I really hated that it was just one page of practice and the words, and then you flipped and you were already at the next one. So you see this says lesson 22 is spelling list 4, and then you don't do the other page until lesson 24, and then the next lesson is on lesson 27. So you're not coming back every day with the spelling words. You actually have to write them in a journal every day, or find activities to do every day. So a reason for actually gave us, let me take it out. It actually gave us the activities within the book. I didn't have to be going to the lesson plan book. It's just here. So just like the other, the boys book, it starts with the phonics, and she'll do some letters and sounds and compound words and making word connections, answering questions, and then she'll get to her spelling. So the spelling is the same for hers. This is level B. And so she still has the preview in the beginning. It also comes with scripture, and the scripture goes with the handwriting book also. She did a reason for handwriting because they did have, for her level, manuscript. So we chose to go with a reason for instead of a Becca, and that's how I fell in love with the reason for. So her activities are pretty similar, except she'll have a little bit more than the boys. So her sentences are longer. She has more words that she has to fill out. Her misspelled words are a little more difficult. She'll have to put things in ABC order. There's a game. The boys have games too. And then it's the same again. So it's not always the same activities. You see, spell your words with paint, spell your words with an eraser, spell your words with clapping. So they enjoy this. And they get excited when they realize that they know how to spell things. So now they write sentences, and they've actually enjoyed reading more now that they know how to spell, because they look at the words, and since they know the spelling, they recognize it, they can recognize words. And it's helped my son a lot. One of my boys struggled with reading, and something in his brain just clicked recently, and now he won't let go of his books. So I'm not mad at it at all. Again, with Answers in Genesis, which is the one that has broken my heart this year, because I was really excited. So this is the level 2 and 3, so second grade and third grade, year 1. So both of these books are year 1, and they go creation through Joseph. So I would be giving the same lesson to all 3 of them. The only thing that changes is the activities. So where the K through 1 book would have more simple activities, she would have a little bit more. So here is illustrating these Bible verses, or going through these mazes. filling out some words, answering questions, answering questions about Bible verses. So it's a lot more writing, whereas the boys had a lot more of like the puzzles and bubbling in things and coloring. So review questions. Something I really want to get into with them again. So here is Chloe's phonics and language book. So here it has everything. It's just one thick book. And everything is in here, which is what I think they should have done with first grade. They could have done front and back, and they wouldn't have needed so many books. So it's a little bit frustrating. I don't hate Abeka's language arts. I think it's great, especially for kids that struggle with reading, because Abeka's curriculum has it teaches you how to mark vowels. So the short sounds, the long sounds, it teaches them how to recognize it and how to mark them in a word. So by marking words, it's actually helping them with reading too. We stopped dictation because it was a little bit redundant. She was getting frustrated because she was bored. So we kind of skipped dictation, and I do dictation in different ways with her. I don't always make them draw. If it says to draw their sentence and they don't feel like drawing, I'm okay with that. As long as they do the other things, they write their sentences, whatever it is that they're doing, they're working on, I'm totally fine. Just like this one, color the picture. If they don't feel like coloring, I'm not going to force them. Here she started and she didn't finish. Oh, actually she did because the rest were just white. But sometimes if they have like coloring sheets like this that it says to find the special sound in each word and to color it depending on the sounds, and they don't want to color, I'll just tell them, okay, well, tell me which ones end in ed, like played, or which one has the a in adopt, or the ch in church, the same sound. And so I'll have them point it out to me instead of coloring it if they prefer to do so. Sometimes they want to color, sometimes they don't, and that's okay. Sometimes we feel like doing things, sometimes we don't. But as long as they're understanding, that's all that matters to me. So here, we've already gone pretty far in this book. She's almost done. But we still have a lot to go. Even though it's almost done, it's a very thick book. So she just finished lesson 108. And we'll be going to lesson 109. And we're way past halfway, but it's a very lengthy book. So this one I know that we can continue to use throughout the summer. In the back it has like a glossary. It'll have like little certificates. But yeah, I feel like we'll get through this fairly quickly in the coming days. And this is her handwriting book. So we did choose a reason for handwriting for her. This is level B handwriting. And what I loved about a reason for handwriting is that they had the practice lessons in the beginning. So she got to practice her lessons the beginning of the year, her lines. And once you're done, then we had the daily lessons. And so she started with letters and simple words, but the words have to do with a Bible verse. So the verse for the lesson would actually be on day 4. So she wouldn't have to do a full page every day. It would just be in sections. So for lesson 1, she had day 1. Then she had lesson 1, day 2. So she'll continue practicing. Lesson 1, day 3. And then day 4 would be practicing tracing the Bible verse for the week. And then day 5 is actually in the back. There are pages with lines that you can use, and you'll write the verse on one of these pages. So she'd be able to choose a page, rip it out, or sometimes they have the free pages online in a Reason 4, and they'll have like these special edition pages, and she can write the verse and color the page, and that'll be her handwriting for the day. So I like this because every week they were learning a Bible verse, and when they got to a new lesson, immediately they were like, what's the Bible verse of the week? And they were so excited. So if they're excited about learning Bible verses, that makes me happy, that makes me excited, and that makes me love it. So this curriculum is a winner in my book. And then we have her math book. Again, I liked Abeka's math. It's pretty advanced. Chloe is a little bit slower getting things in math. She does fairly well, but she's slower to grasp a concept in math, whereas the boys, they grab it really quickly. So I tend to sit down longer with her throughout the day than with the boys. And her things are a little bit more complicated too. I mean, she's in 2nd grade, the boys are in 1st grade. So the boys' stuff is still fairly easy. So she's already doing multiplication, and I know that very soon we'll be getting into division, and she saw division in the back of the book somewhere, and she got really nervous. So I'm hoping that she doesn't freak out when we get to the division lesson, and she just gets excited and happy and gets it. So here are some of the pages that she's already done. Her book is different because they have the different countries. It goes around the world, and it'll give you some fun facts about each country. And then it matches also with her language arts book. But again, her math, where she is in math, is not where she is in her language arts. So she's getting each thing different times. So here's already multiplication. She's working on money, fractions, Roman numerals. So here is the CC. So it's 200. So C is 100, M is 1,000, D is 500. But this she understands. She is great with the Roman numerals, but when she's ever going to use Roman numerals, I don't know. I never use Roman numerals in anything. But it is what it is. This is what's here. And if it's here, she's gonna learn it. Maybe she'll use it later on in life or something. But she is regrouping and carrying ones and multiplying. And here comes division. So division is coming very, very soon. We're about 2 days away from starting division. I'm a little bit worried, but excited because I think she'll do great because she has gotten multiplication easier than addition somehow. So I think she'll be fine. But just like the other book, she has her math facts in the back, the drills that she can practice. And I'll probably do these in the summer just so that they can get refreshers and just to see where they're at. So it's multiplication, division. So since she hasn't started division yet, I probably won't do that till later on in the summer, maybe starting the new school year. But hers have like fill in the missing numbers, even for multiplication. And we'll see how that goes. But she had, how many books? 10 books, and we've only used for her 4 books. We did 2 from A Reason 4, handwriting and spelling, and 2 Abeka books because everything else was just overwhelming and it was too much. I didn't like the feeling of being overwhelmed. I felt like I was trapped in a glass bottle with no way out because it was just so much, and I felt like I needed to do it all. I needed to do the test. I needed to do every book. I needed for all of it to be complete. But as I went on and I found other homeschool mom friends and other YouTubers and people that I follow on Instagram, I've learned to kind of let go. I've read a lot this year. I think I've read like 5 books in the last 3 months on homeschooling, and it's been very refreshing knowing that I'm not the only one that goes through this. There's a lot of things that I've had to learn to let go throughout the year, things that people are not going to understand, and it looks like a waste of money. But at the end of the day, we have to do what's best for our kids and figure out how they best learn. So if a book is not working for my kids, I am going to scrap it and I'm going to find something that does work. I'm not going to stop necessarily, but I will find something else. So just like the spelling, it didn't work for Becca, but a reason 4 was great for us. Maybe a Becca works for somebody else. It just didn't work for us. And a Becca's not a bad curriculum, it's just very lengthy. So if you like that traditional route, and if you're a first-year homeschooling parent, I do recommend getting the box curriculum. Even though everybody says you shouldn't, you can if that's what you want to do, because there's no better way of learning than doing. You have to figure out what's going to work, and if you want to try and see if it works for you, maybe it does. For us, some things worked and some things just didn't work. And letting go was difficult, but after we did, I felt so much better. The kids were much happier. It was less of a load for them and for me. And we found our happy place in homeschooling. Next school year, however, I will not be getting a Becca. I'm still not sure what we're gonna do as far as curriculum, what curriculum we're gonna go for. I definitely do know that I want to keep a reason 4 for handwriting and a reason 4 for spelling, because it's worked for us, and this is currently what we're doing right now. So this is probably going to continue through the next school year. So I won't be getting a new spelling book for them just yet, because they are just starting off with this one and there's still a long way to go. But they definitely are going to need new language arts book, new math book, and new handwriting, because Chloe already finished hers and the boys hate theirs. So most likely I will be getting level T of the handwriting for Chloe next year, and I'll be getting this level B for the boys for next year. But that will be a whole separate video. So this weekend we're actually going to the homeschool convention up in Orlando, and we're gonna take you guys along. So you guys are gonna see all the things that we're looking at, the curriculum we're planning on getting. And once we're done, we're gonna show you the haul, whatever we got for the kids and what we decided to choose for them. So I'll see you soon.